He hopped on the motorcycle, ready to head home, but suddenly a man plopped down behind him. Before Kareem could say something, the man quickly gave an address, urging him to hurry. Though Kareem was confused, he eventually dropped the man off at the right place. When asked about the fare, Kareem, mistaken for a motorcycle taxi driver, unsure of the rates, simply let the man pay whatever he thought was fair. Tasting success, Kareem decided to give it another shot. Later, he arrived at a spot where motorcycle taxis picked up passengers, but each business had its own rules. Other drivers shooed him away, but luck seemed to be on his side. Midway through, traffic stalled, and an impatient construction site boss caught up with him. Upon reaching the site, the boss asked Kareem to wait while he fetched money. During this time, Kareem noticed an old antenna on the site, and since his own was broken, he asked if he could take it. The workers allowed him, mentioning things there were free for the taking. As the boss returned with money, Kareem, still unsure of the fare rates, simply let him pay whatever he thought was fair. To his surprise, the boss handed him 2 large bills. Kareem, realizing he had likely been overpaid, rushed to return the excess, only to find the boss had already left in a car. Carrying the antenna, he headed home, impulsively buying 2 pounds of green dates on the way. Unfortunately, the bumpy ride caused the bag to tear, spilling the dates like mischievous elves into a stream. Further misfortune awaited as he reached the village entrance, where children gathered by a canal. They believed there were fish in the foul water. In their search, Kareem's daughter's hearing aid accidentally fell in. Kareem, frustrated, scolded them how fish could be in such a muddy pit and continued searching the hearing aid with the children. One child suggested they could clean the pool to raise goldfish for profit, to which Kareem scoffed at the impracticality. After a strenuous search, they found the hearing aid, and Kareem's daughter, after cleaning it, claimed she could hear. But Kareem knew she lied to protect her brother. He came after his son. However, the mother stopped him. Rushing to the hospital, Kareem learned the hearing aid couldn't be fixed, leaving him despondent as buying a new one was expensive and beyond his means. The first one was obtained with state aid. To purchase a new one, he considered asking his boss for an advance. Coincidentally, when the boss needed to relocate an Ostrich, Kareem supervised the workers in the transfer, but a mishap led to one Ostrich escaping, jeopardizing Kareem's job and potentially costing him a hefty sum. Frantically searching with a net on his motorcycle, Kareem found only feathers and a cracked ostrich egg. Suddenly, an ostrich appeared on the horizon, but when it got closer, it turned out to be Kareem in disguise, attempting to lure the ostrich back. Exhausted and desperate in the scorching sun, Kareem failed to recapture the ostrich. Luckily, the boss didn't demand compensation but dismissed Kareem, sending him home. Despite losing his job, Kareem found solace in becoming a motorcycle taxi driver. That evening, he and his family cleaned up his old motorcycle, which had now become a hope for the entire family. The next day, Kareem embarked on a new journey. Initially, the new job was smooth, but he encountered some unruly customers who refused to pay. When Kareem asked for the money, they threatened to report him to the police because Kareem didn't have a driver's license, leaving Kareem no choice but to give up asking for the money. Since tasting success at the construction site, Kareem would collect treasures on his way home every day. Passing by the underground water cistern again one day, he saw a group of children busy there. He hurried over to shoo them away. Back home, his son mentioned they wanted to raise goldfish in that underground water cistern, but Kareem thought they were just daydreaming. Kareem handed over the money he earned each day to his wife for safekeeping. At this rate, they would soon be able to buy a new hearing aid. Confident and motivated, Kareem was full of vigor. However, upon returning home one day, he found the treasures he had collected in disarray, rummaged through by his son. The son explained they wanted to install a window frame for the underground water cistern. Upon counting, Kareem discovered the blue wooden door was missing instead. Learning his wife had given it away, he hurriedly set off to retrieve it. Without hesitation, he took the door from the relative's house, leaving the relative speechless as he stormed out. Feeling ashamed of her husband's selfishness, his wife refused to talk to him. But Kareem explained that a bit of self-interest sometimes propels one further. He then sang to cheer up his wife, who had no choice but to forgive him. The next day, Kareem obtained fake driver's license to join a transport team. Their task was to deliver electrical appliances, and Kareem had to follow the convoy because he didn't know the destination. However, his motorcycle broke down midway, and by the time it restarted, the convoy had left. After fruitless searching, Kareem returned home with the refrigerator. The children excitedly circled around the refrigerator, thinking they finally had a place for ice cream, but Kareem knew it wasn't theirs. The following day, while carrying the refrigerator in search of the delivery point, a person offered to buy it at a high price. For a moment, a scale appeared in Kareem's mind, but his conscience prevailed. He left, but after a day of searching in town, the sinister thought resurfaced. Attempting to convince himself the refrigerator was found at the construction site, Kareem struggled internally. However, as he approached an appliance store, torn between choices, he spotted a truck of ostriches nearby, their bewildered eyes mirroring his own. Kareem realized that without a conscience, a person was no different from livestock. Ultimately, he returned the refrigerator to the transport team, where the boss not only didn't fire him but commended his honesty, rewarding him with a bonus for integrity, and he could continue working at the company. Upon returning to the village, Kareem found his son and friends selling flowers by the roadside. Fueled by futile thoughts, he believed it was a great insult for a man's children to earn money. Infuriated, he smashed their little stall, leaving the children standing in the dusty wind, their confused expressions indiscernible. Upon learning they were still saving for goldfish, Kareem grabbed a pickaxe and headed for the underground water cistern. However, upon reaching the cistern, he was stunned to find it transformed from a dirty and foul-smelling ditch to a clean, sparrow-chirping oasis. In the corner lay a new bird's nest, with the cleaned mud piled outside, imprinted with hand and footprints from the children's tireless efforts. Kareem stood there in awe for a long time before returning home. Instead of scolding his son as usual, Kareem silently helped his son tidy up the clutter. Suddenly, the clutter collapsed, his wife and son to rush in anxiously. Thankfully, Kareem escaped life-threatening injuries but sustained head trauma and had his leg put in a cast, forcing him to rest in bed. Unable to work, he relied on his wife to sell the clutter to make ends meet. His daughter helped apply ointment to his wounds. Watching his family, Kareem felt regret and self-blame, tears of remorse trickling down his worn cheeks. Since Kareem's injury, neighbors and relatives often came to help them. Watching everyone bustling under the sunlight, Kareem's heart was filled with mixed emotions. At night, his daughter painted on his cast while his son nestled close, drifting off to sleep. Kareem bent down to touch his son's small hand and suddenly noticed calluses on it. The son he once looked down upon had become a pillar of the family. Every day, the son went to help others with different works, earning money. He partially handed some to his mother and saved some to buy goldfish. His mother advised him not to overwork, mentioning she also earned money by sewing for others, setting aside some for him to buy goldfish. Kareem regretted his past treatment of the children. One day, his son accompanied Kareem to the hospital, stopping at a juice stall on the way. He bought the cheapest orange juice and handed it to his father, explaining he didn't like orange juice. However, Kareem knew his son thought 2 boxes were too expensive, so after taking a sip, he passed the rest to his son. Soon after, the children finally bought the goldfish. They sang amidst the flowers, discussing their plans to go to the cistern after finishing the delivery. Suddenly, Kareem's son noticed a small hole in the bucket holding the fish. In a frantic attempt to save the goldfish, they discarded the flower pots, shouting and throwing things out without regard. Despite Kareem's desperate shouts, he couldn't get out of the vehicle. The children eventually rescued the bucket, collaborating to carry it towards the cistern. However, in their haste, they tripped and a large bucket of goldfish spilled onto the ground. The fish shimmered like broken hope. Helpless, the children sat there, but after a moment of struggle, they made a unanimous decision. With tender hands, they gently pushed the goldfish into the nearby water channel, choosing kindness to let all the fish live. In the end, they kept only the largest goldfish, sitting in silence. Seeing their dejected faces, Kareem sang them a song in an attempt to uplift their spirits. The fields had already sprung to life, and the children rallied, their voices echoing across the land. Upon returning home, the children ran to the cistern, releasing the sole remaining goldfish. At that moment, it wasn't just a small pool but their dreamland. One day, Kareem woke from sleep to find a sparrow fluttering around the room, chirping and crashing into things. Kareem shifted to open the door for the sparrow, which flew outside. Kareem felt a strange sense of contentment. Just then, the voice of the ostrich farm boss came from outside, bringing Kareem good news. The ostrich that had escaped had returned, and he could come back to work. Kareem could hardly believe it, feeling like he was in a dream. As he healed and prepared to return to the ranch, Nearing the destination, Kareem stopped his motorcycle, gazing at the flock of ostriches running towards him. A smile spread across his face. Compared to Hollywood films, Iranian cinema possesses a unique quality. While depicting harsh realities, it also showcases love, hope, and the radiance of humanity, offering a glimmer of hope in life. This film can be watched for free on Tubi, and I highly recommend watching the movie.